Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service. Hello and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity work, community service, volunteering, and spreading positivity. We're all about the positivity here on the show, and with me right now, I've got a very special guest. She is a former WWE Divas Champion, as well as a former 24/7 champion. The one, the only Kelly Kelly is with us here. Welcome, Kelly.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
Doing so good. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes. So you're from Jacksonville, Florida. Tell me about
Yeah.
your upbringing and childhood.
I was brought up, in Jacksonville, with, my mom and my dad and my grandmother helped raise me and we had a great family upbringing. I played lots of sports. I was constantly active. My mom had me in all the things. I had a great childhood. I started gymnastics at 3, and I started competing when I was 6. I started competing all over Florida and I really loved it. And my parents were super supportive. They took me to gymnastic meets every weekend. And then around 13, I stopped doing that and I got into competitive cheerleading. And I did that for almost 4 years. And I was just always very athletic. And like I said, I had a great childhood.
What was it about athletics that really inspired you to really
I
get
think I just
into it?
love to entertain. And I think that started at a young age. Like I remember seeing like old videos of myself that my parents recorded of me like dancing in the living room and like constantly getting their attention and wanting to watch me do my backflips and stuff. So I was always like, I feel like I was born to entertain, and whether that was how I figured how to do that, whether it being sports or whatever. And then, I got into WWE and it was born to entertain, like I said. So
Yeah, I mean, was professional wrestling something you always were into growing up?
yeah, I mean, I watched it with my dad. That was like our thing to watch together. And because my mom really didn't like it. So when we would go to my dad's house, he would like let us watch it. And that was like our thing. It was really cool that we had that like bonding thing to bond over and watch together. And it was kind of like a full circle moment when I got into WWE and my dad came to his first show. It was just like, like I said, a full circle moment. It
Who
was pretty
who
amazing.
who would have thought? I mean, who were some of your favorites to watch?
Well, Stone Cold was definitely my favorite, my number one. And so when I got to like walk him out to induct him into the Hall of Fame, that was like another full circle moment because I used to
Mhm.
watch him and I just thought he was like the coolest.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were like backstage, and Vince was telling us like, you're walking this person, you're walking this person. And I didn't say anything. I was kind of just like waiting for him to say Stone Cold, and he did. And I was like, yes. And I was so excited. And I think I ended up telling Stone Cold how excited I was. And, he was like, well, I think I'm a big fan of yours. And I was like, oh, so it's
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, you have those moments where you geek out, you're just excited, it's goosebumps, that adrenaline rush. I mean,
Mhm.
you've certainly had those moments for sure throughout your career. But tell me about the call that you got when you first found out like WWE wanted you to join the company.
It was like just out of the blue. I was bikini modeling, and they saw me in a catalog, and they called my agent, and they said we really like her look. Is she athletic? So my manager called me, and he was like, "Hey, I got this crazy phone call. Like, I don't know if you're ever interested in becoming a wrestler, but they like really like your look, and they want you to try out." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, yeah, my parents were, like I said, super supportive, and they were like, "Look, just try it. Let's see what happens." And the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, ECW, I mean, that was huge. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember watching, your debut, and everybody was wanting to know, who's this Kelly girl? Who's this Kelly girl? And then from there, you would come out and do your thing. But you really got into it as the weeks progressed. I mean, they had you out with Mike Knox and then
Mhm.
doing a bunch of mixed tag matches. I mean, that was
Yeah.
crazy.
I know. I definitely got thrown into it. But it was like, I like to say it was a blessing that I started there because I can't imagine getting brought up to like Raw or SmackDown when it's like really like, at least ECW, I got to learn a lot from guys that have been there for a long time. And they kind of took me under their wing and kind of like showed me the ropes. And I was just really blessed to start there. And it was definitely a hardcore fan base, which, I got thrown to the wolves a little bit, but
Hmm.
I learned how to get tough skin. I learned how to deal with those kind of fans. And I just kind of like took it with a grain of salt whenever I would walk out and they would boo me or they would call me names. And that was, kind of, I would watch old ECW tapes and that's how the fans were. So I just was like, okay, screw it. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
figure it out, so.
I mean, you definitely got your experience, your work experience on the road, essentially like
Mhm.
learning all the moves and how to do certain things. Who are some of the
Right.
people that you looked up to or helped you guided you along the way to get to the point where you were, eventually?
I had so many people in my corner, which was great. Tommy Dreamer was like amazing when we were starting out and putting together matches. He definitely was just such a key role um, in my matches and stuff. And like Andrew was a really big part of kind of taking me under his wing and
Hmm.
kind of like protecting me in a way. And then girl like Beth Phoenix was amazing. Mickey James. Michelle McCool, Candice Michelle. They all kind of saw me as like the little sister, and they were really like great and helping me because I had no idea. Like I just was kind of like I said, thrown to the wolves. So
Yeah.
everybody was really great with kind of like helping me out and teaching me the ropes. And Al Snow was a huge one because I went to Ohio Valley Wrestling. So when I wasn't on the road, I was training there, and Al Snow was, training me every day, and he was great. He really, I don't think he had a lot of like models come in there and he kind of like having to start from scratch with them. And but he was great at it. And so I always love seeing him recently, and it's great to, reminisce on all of those times. So
Yeah, with all the stuff that OVW has
mhm.
released and is
Yeah.
the fanfare with the new documentary and everything like that, it's
Yeah, it's
definitely
so cool
got
to
like this
see.
resurgence.
Hmm.
They do incredible work over there. Was there like any pieces of advice that stuck with you from your time over at OVW or while you were on the road with WWE at first that stuck with you throughout the
Hmm.
years that you still remember, you still apply today?
Yeah, it was kind of like keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Like just take all the information in and just, yeah, it was just because it's such a the business was like, you had to have like respect. You respected, all these guys who've been in there for a very long time, and you're just like constantly taking in knowledge and learning. um and just kind of don't go and talk, like don't go and like, mouth off or whatever. It's just kind of like it's all learning. Everybody's there to help you.
Mhm.
So basically just, and you're constantly learning. So it's like, that was the thing too. It was like you're always gonna constantly be learning. Like there's never a time where you're gonna stop learning.
Mhm.
So that was kind of it.
It's the repetition,
Yeah.
you keep learning, keep growing, keep growing. So you're on ECW, you start there, eventually you make your way to the main shows, Raw and SmackDown. I mean, whole different environment. You're working in front of large crowds. Um, Tell me about the
Mhm.
experiences that you had, when you got to Raw, working with people like Mickey James and Beth Phoenix. What was it
Mhm.
like, reaching that big stage, that next level?
It was amazing. I think being in ECW definitely prepared me when I came to Raw. I learned so much. And, you know, when I was able to get into the ring and, you know, Victoria too, Victoria was a huge one. I worked with her a lot in the beginning and she was just amazing. Like, I don't think she gets enough credit in WWE. I feel like she needs to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, I love her so much and she's so amazing. And she's so great with girls who are coming up, and you know, she just was constantly like helping and you know, just doing whatever to help them look good in their matches. So yeah, she's a big one too. But yeah, everybody was great, and it was just such a dream come true to finally walk through the, you know, walk on the Raw stage and get to wrestle. I feel like it was all my hard work had finally paid off, and I was finally like, okay, here we go. This is, you know, I'm getting my opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely put in the work. I've watched several of your matches. I mean, Divas Champion. I mean, that's like the ultimate dream. I mean, tell
Yeah.
me about, you know, I was watching some interviews with you where you actually pitched the idea to become Divas Champion.
Hmm.
That had to have been an amazing feeling.
It was kind of like I said, all my hard work had kind of finally paid off. I had been there for 5 years. I just was so ready for the opportunity, and I was just praying that I would get it. And how I got it was so amazing, because it was just like, you know, it was up to the people, you know, it was power to the people. It was a voting thing. We had no idea who was going to win. And that's what made it so special, because it was up to the fans. So I'll never forget that. That's, you know, because not many, yeah, people can say that that's how they got to win the championship. So
No, couldn't ask for a better way to write that chapter.
yeah.
But you got to work at WrestleMania, you know, be
Yeah.
champion and do, you know, you had just an outstanding run. I mean, who are
Thank
some
you.
of your favorite opponents to work with over the years?
Oh my gosh. I mean, Beth Phoenix, I loved. I always loved. Our matches were so fun. It was just like I played this underdog role. And I just, you know, I loved playing that. I loved, you know, when we would have matches, I would just tell her to beat the shit out of me. I want, you know, I want the fans to feel my pain. I love working with Layla, Michelle McCool, Mickey James, Victoria, um, Maurice. Love working with Maurice. We had some fun matches. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot, you know, those are a great list of opponents there.
Yeah.
Do you keep up with the product today?
I try to keep up as much as I can. You know, I've got two 9-month-old twins, so they keep me very busy. I'm very
Mhm.
lucky that they're napping right now, which is because you know, it's all day. So we got very lucky right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I know a lot of people that have, you know, since made their way to WWE have looked up to you in your career. One of them being people like Chelsea Green. I know I was watching one of her interviews. She was very inspired by you and your work. It's gotta mean something, you know, when people look up to you and see what they're doing.
It does. It's really cool. It's really, you know, that's what means the most. And, you know, whenever she said that, I think Tiffany Stratton said something too, and Maxine. So it's really cool that the girls who are coming up now, that I'm somebody that they looked up to and that they admired. It really means a lot.
And you probably get this question asked a lot, but any thoughts about going back for a stint or two, match or
I
two?
mean, yeah, I put it out there. Like I said, I would love for my twins to one day, when they're old enough to understand what mommy did, to watch, you know, front row, seeing their mom going back out there and wrestling and performing. I just think that would be just another full circle moment. So it would be
Yeah.
pretty amazing. So
Who
we'll see.
knows? Royal Rumble, you know, never know.
You never know.
Yeah. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. I read something that caught my eye. You started up a charity a few years back. Tell me about
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, so it was called Cure Glioblastoma. It is a charity I started along with a brain special neurosurgeon who specialized in this very rare brain cancer. It was after my dad passed away. He passed away of glioblastoma, which
So
is a
sorry.
very rare brain cancer, and not a lot of people know about until recently. It's definitely a lot of people are finding out about it. Um, because when my dad was passing, they couldn't figure out what it was. They misdiagnosed him a few times until they finally figured out that's what it was, until it was too late. And just remember this feeling of like helplessness and like wanting to to really tell other families about it and help and support other families, because I wish I would have had a more support system when we found out about it and what it was, because it's like I said, it's a very rare cancer, and a lot of families when they go through it, it takes the person very quickly. I think my dad passed from when he got diagnosed. I think it was like a month. And I just remember wishing there was like a group of a big support system for this cancer. And so when I got approached by this neurosurgeon, he was like, look, I really want to start this charity. I want, like, to raise awareness. And I was like, yes, because I feel like that's something I could do to help, to kind of, show people and kind of honor my dad. That's really what I wanted to do, was to honor him and to really tell people about this, and to help people out who are in similar situations. So we started the charity, and it was right before COVID, and we had all these plans to launch it and everything. So we ended up having to kind of do it social media and kind of push it out that way. And it's still in the beginning stages, but we're still trying to get the word out there. And it's just such an amazing charity. And I've met a lot of amazing people doing it. And yeah, it's, trying to be an advocate for it. And yeah.
What's your ultimate goal with the charity? Where do you see it going in the next 5 years or so?
I'd really like I'd really like to help families, raising money for families. It's a very expensive. I mean, the treatments that you have to do for it are very expensive, and they're very few and far between. So yeah, just like really helping out families and raising money for them.
Well, it's always good to give back, especially with
Mhm.
something just traumatic, thinking about
Mhm.
someone that died, someone very close to you, near and dear to your heart, spreading
Mhm.
awareness, because you never know, tomorrow's never guaranteed. And so
Right,
it's
right.
very nice to be able to do something for someone else, that could be going through something. Why do you feel passionate about helping out in your community and spreading awareness about this cause?
Like I said, because of my dad, and I want to advocate for him and his memory, and really help out other families going through the same thing. It's very important because, like I said, I felt very helpless while I was going through it, because I didn't have anybody really to lean on. It was just me and my sister. And we didn't know other people who had gone through this. So, just getting my story out, I've had a lot of people reach out to me saying, oh my God, my sister went through the same thing, my dad, my mom. Thank you for putting this out there, because we can, meet other people who are going through the same thing and kind of build this community. I think it's very important.
Everybody's got to help each other in some form or another. It's
Yeah.
very nice that you're able to do that, and people are being very
Thank
receptive
you.
to it. Yeah, of course. Well, to lighten things up before we wrap things up here, you kind of alluded to this earlier. You're now a mother, and that's very
Yeah.
awesome, very
Thank
exciting. How how
you.
how how is motherhood? Tell me about it.
It's amazing. It's literally like my dream job. I wake up every day to these beautiful, amazing babies, and they are just my whole world. I just, it's the best. I cook for them every morning. It's like our little ritual. We have like our day planned. We go and, do mommy and me classes. We go to the pool. Especially now because they're 9 months and they're able to like do things. It's just so fun to do things with them. And yeah, I just wanted this for so long. I wanted to be a mother, so it's just to be a mother now, and it's just the dream, living the
May,
dream.
maybe they want to see you wrestle someday. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they follow in the footsteps.
You never know. I know. I posted this video of them the other day where my son just like clotheslined my daughter down and like just got up like it was nothing, and I was like, oh, here we go. So
Yep. Got to
you
start them
never
young,
know.
right?
Exactly.
Yep. Well, Kelly, this has been wonderful getting the chance to speak with you. It means a lot to me
Yeah.
and my listeners
Thank
and viewers that are
you.
watching this on YouTube. Where can people find more about you on social media if they want to get in touch with you and get in touch about your cause, your foundation?
Yeah, I mean, you can on all socials, the Barbie Blank, and I have my manager's email up there, or you can send me a DM. I try and check them as often as I can. So yeah,
Thank you so much again, and you're more than
yeah.
welcome to come back.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, take care.
Bye.
This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.